World War II vehicles in front of us and behind us, and everybody was lining the streets waving their flags. Anyway, it was a lot of fun, and I'm sure that today will be a lot of fun as well. So, I'll hand over to the expert now.
In the middle of the roundabout, you see there, got all the Jubilee flags flying for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. We had our Pride Day yesterday in town. You see that? So we've got the Pride flag up as well at the moment. The mast is a three-quarter representation of the mast aboard Lord James de Saumarez's flagship, the Orion. Lord James de Saumarez, second in command to Nelson at the Battle of the Nile. The Saumarez family, lords of the manor, always high up in the Royal Navy. They own swathes. Remember the 14 Guernsey lives lost aboard the RMS Titanic. And as you'll come along the harbour front, if you look up to the right there in the restaurant window, you see there's an old wooden crane. The harbour area would have been right up against these buildings when it was first built. Ships would have sailed in and offloaded their produce, their goods, straight into the warehouses. Big building on the right here, the tourist information. On your free time, if you're not sure where to go, or what to do, what's open, or how to get there, the guys and girls in there are extremely friendly and knowledgeable. They'll be able to help you out. Now, if you're lucky enough to have your own boat or yacht vessel, this is where you get moored up here, the Victoria Marina on the left. This is our visitors marina. You get prime location as a visitor to Guernsey.
That's why it's not full.
Yeah. As we come to the end of the buildings, the Albion House here on the right, in the Guinness Book of Records, this building, closest pub to a church in the British Isles. And you can see the gargoyle almost touching. So as we come round, let's say Victoria Marina, we're going round the statue of Prince Albert there, and his roundabout is looking at the Albert Marina where locals have their boats. Behind him now, if you look at the white building there with Trafalgar Travel on the lintel, that's the Picket House. The Picket House was originally Guernsey's jail, that's the prison. Quite a small building. I think maybe if you'd been sentenced to prison, it might have been full up. You weren't getting away with it though. The courts could always send you over to the castle in the harbour, Castle Cornet. There are cells within the castle they could use. We do have a little saying, you're not Her Majesty's pleasure over here in Guernsey when you're going inside. What you tell people is, you're going to have a view from the castle. That's a nice way of saying you're going to prison. We come round and get a much better view of Castle Cornet. Built on a tidal island, started to be built early 1200s to protect the harbour entrance. The breakwater, built during the Napoleonic era. So prior to that, yeah. It's quite easy to hear in town. Can you imagine if you're in the castle, you're about 20-30 feet away when the guy dressed in militia uniform fires it. Oh, you're going Friday? Yeah, so very rarely do we go below 0. We don't get snow very often, and when it does come, it doesn't stay very long. The ground doesn't freeze, we don't get a hard frost, which is why as we drive around you see lots of delicate Mediterranean style plants. He came to the Vaubelet here, that's the name of the area, is the Vaubelet, that means the beautiful valleys. It reminded him of Lourdes in France, where they have the healing waters, and he thought to himself, Guernsey is going to need a grotto to equal that in Lourdes. So the waters around our islands are treacherous. Just around Rocaine and Lorray bays here, over the centuries, well over 100 vessels reported as being wrecked just in this one area. More than enough for a little shipwreck museum. We're going to be stopping right opposite. We won't have enough time to go inside today. That may be another thing you'd like to come back and have a little look inside the museum there. No, you can go over, take some photos. Absolutely fine. And this is the Guernsey Pearl, where we're stopping for our teas, coffees, cake, that sort of stuff. It's now, what are we up to? 12 o'clock. So we're going to say half an hour. Hopefully that'll be okay. I'll be keeping my eyes. If we need a little bit more time, I'm not going to rush you. You know, so most people then just sell up and move on. Now, when you have all these sorts of rules and regulations, these restrictions, what you tend to get, what you do here in Guernsey, I'm just going to slow down and let this bus come round. You're going to get the exception to the rule. So you make a rule, and then you make another one to get around it. And the exception to the rule with the housing licence is what the locals will call the long licence. The long licence. They are like hen's teeth. Very few, if any, handed out each year. They are a 14-year licence. So you can come and live the idyllic life for 14 years. And you, at the end, again, you'll get a letter from the government, but this time the letter says, thank you very much, please come to the government offices. Up you'll go, fill in a form, you pay the person behind the counter. It's around £50 per family member. They will then print you out a little credit card thing, and on the card it says, you're now a Guern. So it's as though you were born here. You don't need to live under that licence system anymore. You can come and go as you please. See the chimney breast here on the left?
Oh yeah.
You see the stones? Like it's not been finished properly, has it? Those are witches' seats.
Oh, they are, yeah.
So the witches will be flying around on their broomsticks. Get a bit cold, flying around up in the sky. Down they come into your house to warm up. They create havoc, those witches, and if you try and kick them out, well, they're going to curse you. You don't want that. So you stick a witch's seat on your chimney breast. As she's flying around, she sees her seat, flies down, sits on there, warms up against the chimney breast quite nicely, and flies away again, and she's happy. You've looked after her. She doesn't need to come into your house. She's not going to curse you. Only if you were to remove your witch's seat would you then be cursed. Now, a friend of mine who's got a lovely old farmhouse overlooking Perel Bay, he's had a side extension put on his farmhouse. It's all glass at the end now. Stunning views over the bay, absolutely beautiful from his lounge. He did have to remove a witch's seat to do that though. Now, I'm not going to say he was cursed, but he did have his mother-in-law come live with him not long after that. You can make of that what you will. They look like lovely little rollers, don't they? On the right here, Le Grand Mare is one of Guernsey's 2 18-hole golf courses. And look ahead of us, this is a loophole tower, much smaller than the Martel. Oh, excuse me, thank you. The loopholes are the windows in the tower. Back here, you see we've got the Cobo pink granite again, like where we had with the goats. I'm going to need you now to do something. You need to put your thinking heads on. Yeah, use your imaginations, because this large lump of Cobo pink granite to the left of us, with the grass growing on the top, is called Lion Rock. It should become evident why as we drive past. If you look backwards out the window, right to the far end, you see a lion's head right at the end there. Yeah. Just waiting for the sea to come up a little bit more so he can get a drink. That's Lion Rock. There you go. Now don't ease off. Don't ease off. Keep your imaginations going. You're doing well. As we come around the next bend, look just over the bank and back to the left. At the end of the rock, because there's a camel having a lay down, and they say it's a baboon that's looking at it. There you go. Nice little rock menagerie, little rock zoo round here at Albeck. Then we come round to Cobo Bay, where the Cobo pink granite gets its name. And ahead, the little wooded area to the right there is the Get. Get means to watch. There is a watchtower high up in the trees there. That's a great place to go and get some lovely photos to make all your friends jealous of your holiday here in Guernsey. And we are looking to organise a sunset trip tomorrow. So Ruth will chat to you about that, and we'll put our hands up probably when we get up to Pembroke. We'll see how we go with that. And you're going to be picked up from the hotel area. I don't usually probably at 6 o'clock. You'll come down to Cobo, watch the sun go down. You can maybe get something to eat in the Rock Mount. There's the pub there. You get pub grub, or you may fancy, if the weather's like this, fingers crossed, you could go to the Cobo Chippy and then pick up your fish supper down onto the beach. That's quite a popular thing to do, especially on a Friday. You know, you finish your long week at work, and then rather than just flopping on the sofa waiting for the weekend to come, back out in the car, down to Cobo, pick up your fish and chip supper, and down onto the beach. It's a lovely way to finish your working week. And saying, for those that are interested, if we have enough people, I think it's 10 that we need to be able to organise it. And it's going to be £10 for you to, do a little. That's the pub here. You see the Rock Mount, where you could get food in there if you want to come. And then just after the petrol station, right at the end of the buildings on the right here, the blue sign here, and start swimming in a westerly direction. The first landfall you come to is North America. There's very little in the way between us and them. There's nothing there, so we don't get, there's very little sort of like air or sea pollution, which is why some evenings the skies, they really do light up. The reds and yellows, golds and oranges can be quite spectacular. So we can't guarantee it, but we can keep our fingers crossed. If you want to do that, you can get a little sunset trip. As we come along, we look right ahead of us, that large Gothic looking building with the black roofs there, Grand Rock House. Another property owned by the de Sommerets. You say there's that name again, the de Sommeret family. I said they own swathes of Guernsey. Originally this was just a small fisherman's cottage, but razed to the ground and then built on and built up over the centuries into the manor house we have here today, Grand Rock House.
Yeah, there is a bit.
Got holiday accommodation in there as well. Along past Picarel here, then we'll come to Le Havre. On the far side of the bay, Amara, Chouet and Ladies Bay. Low water, the sea retreats right out and you can walk right the way across to the other side. Now I said Ladies Bay over there as well. That's because during the Victorian times, the gentlemen, when they went swimming, side of the Bray. Now if you lived the other side of the Bray, you couldn't have said to the priest here, sorry I couldn't come to church, it was high water, I couldn't really get across. No, there were rings in the wall. You would have had to row across and moor up. No excuses back in the day for not going to church. Excellent. I certainly think this is probably the prettiest of our sandy beaches. And as we come round, you see the Fort Le Marchant on the headland there. And if you look out to sea, you can see some little rocks just to the left. Then behind the rocks, you see Alderney. One of the beach, we should dig it up and stand it on top of the hill. It'll be a modern piece, looking back to our ancient past for the year 2000. Everyone loved it. Down they went to dig it up, way bigger than they'd anticipated. You see it there, 1/3 is sticking out. We are VAT free, there's no goods and service tax, but there is tax on income. As I mentioned, that's why the rich people come and live here. But it's a flat rate of 20%. There is no high rate tax as well. There is a cap. The maximum of personal tax anyone pays in 1 year is just over
at the front, 2 in the middle, and 2 at the rear of the passenger cabin. Life rafts are situated on the upper deck. In the event of an evacuation, they will be released by the crew. There are life jackets on board for each person. These are situated in boxes under the front and rear seats and in the overhead lockers in the passenger cabin. There are also life jackets located under the seats on the external decks. Life jacket donning instructions can be found in the passenger cabin. Please remain seated at all times during rough crossings, or when requested to do so by the crew. There is a no smoking policy in the passenger cabin and the toilets of this vessel. Smoking is only permitted on the upper and rear decks. Thank you for your attention. The Isle of Sark Shipping Company wishes you a pleasant crossing.
said, we're going to head northwest. We're going to do a couple of stops where you can get off and have a look at the coastline. Gives you a little view of the island, really. Way back up there, a couple of places where you can eat. They might forecast the rain today, but it looks like not too bad, is it? So the island itself is 3 miles wide. Left here and not paying capital gains tax, you could say no, I don't think that, you know, farm stealer coming here to live and all this better money coming into the island. So, yeah. So there's no taxes here paid. There is a small island tax that we pay. A lot of hedgerows are made up of blackthorn, which is like a slow berry, and blackberry. Hardy, really. I just wonder when the weather can be terrible. Rain coming at you at like about sort of 40-degree angles and things like that. And you're probably standing about 40. You walk down through there, down through a gateway, open the gate, you can walk down through the field, you'll see an old cannon there, and you'll get a great view of the easterly coastline. Look at the hotel, corridors. I suppose. The next year, yes.
mixture of cigarettes, spirits, and we have Golden Virginia rolling tobacco. Also pleased to announce we now have Marlborough 200s back in stock. For full duty-free allowances and items available for sale, please check the laminated card in the seat pocket in front of you or the Unfortunate magazine. Following this service, we'll be offering a drinks and snacks sale service. Today we're only available to accept most major debit and credit cards on today's flight. Unfortunately, no cash payments can be taken. Thank you.